Welcome to Breaking Ties, Is Divorce the Answer? This is your go-to source for practical advice and support when considering if a divorce is the right answer for you. Join us each weekday for a quick chat where we'll uncover a variety of topics such as child custody, property division, and self-care. Together, we'll explore the emotional, financial, and legal aspects of divorce and help you find the best path forward for you and your family. Here is your host and Certified Divorce Financial Analyst Professional, Mike Fulkerson.
Hi, and welcome back to Breaking Ties, Is Divorce the Answer? I'm your host, Mike Fulkerson, financial advisor and certified divorce financial analyst professional. And today's topic is really of practical concern, and that is the cost of divorce. Let's face it, finances are a big part of the equation when it comes to considering this life-altering decision. So, is getting a divorce expensive? Well, the short answer is it can be, and sometimes it's not. But let's break down the potential costs and how this is going to shake out. When we look at the cost of divorce, it really does vary widely depending on several factors. And we're going to start with the complexity of your case. Uncontested divorces with minimal assets and no children are generally much less expensive than, say, contested divorces with significant assets, child custody disputes, and spousal maintenance negotiations. Then there's attorney fees. Lawyer fees are a major expense, and hourly rates vary depending on the divorce lawyer's experience and location. Now, this should not dissuade you from actually hiring an attorney because they can be a valuable resource in helping you navigate the legal landscape. You do have some court costs in there. So there are things like, filing fees that are associated with initiating the divorce process and potentially additional costs for hearings and definitely if you go to trial. And you go to trial, speaking of go to trial, if you have expert fees, depending on the complexity of your case, you might need appraisals for property or financial assets or consultations with child custody evaluators. All these professionals would have additional fees of their own. While we can't entirely avoid the financial implications of divorce, there are some ways to potentially minimize the costs. And that is, let's start with mediation. Mediation is really where a neutral third party facilitates communication, and it can be a more cost-effective alternative to traditional litigation, especially in uncontested divorces. You got to do some research, educate yourself about the divorce process. With, having a basic understanding of legalities really can help you communicate more effectively with your lawyer, and that would potentially reduce the amount of time needed for their services and reduce your overall expense. Communicating openly. Now, open and honest communication with your ex-spouse is really important and can lead to quicker settlements and less need for lengthy legal battles. And of course, that is if your ex-spouse is willing to communicate openly as well. And then there's alternative dispute resolutions. And when we look at these options, it's beyond mediation. We're looking at collaborative divorce process, which, really involves lawyers working together with both spouses to reach solutions outside of court. Now, in this case, both parties have to be, really on good terms kind of thing, or at least willing to work together to get this resolved without going through the court process. So divorce can be expensive, but there are ways to manage the costs. While the financial aspect is important, don't let it overshadow the bigger picture, your long-term well-being and happiness. I want to thank you for joining me on this episode of Breaking Ties, Is Divorce the Answer? Should you have any questions on today's topic or other financial planning issues, just reach out to me. My information's over in the description. Divorce is not the end of your story. It is the start of your next great chapter. All the best.